What's up, guys? Rev Sauce 9 here. So, Tony Khan, in the last couple of hours, has gone on a tangent about comments by USA. People are calling it a meltdown. This is just Tony Khan doing Tony Khan things. Tony Khan, troll or not by USA, two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not saying Tony Khan's in the right. I'm not saying USA's in the right. I think I'm dumbfounded on all sides of this. I'm dumbfounded Eric Bischoff had to even get in on this action. I'm dumbfounded that Tony Khan is acting dumb. And to shit on Jinder Mahal is just ridiculous to me. Jinder Mahal is the better wrestler over Hook. Hook's not even proven yet. Hook is still green. What has Hook done that justifies him to even be in the conversation with Jinder Mahal? I'm sorry to say that. And this is not me. This is not me hating on AEW. This is me not saying I have an allegiance to any company. All these companies have their pros and cons. Trust me. All of them all take bad takes at times. Look at WWE. WWE, Triple H has done some questionable things recently with his announcements. So WWE and USA, where was WWE and all that going? Maybe you shouldn't take shots like that they're not going to. And Tony Khan should have just laughed this shit off and went into the sunset. But instead had to shit on Jinder Mahal, basically compare him to Hook. Hook is green, my guy. Tony, Hook cannot even be in the conversation. I'm sorry to say that. Hook is holding a title that's no better than the 24/7 title. No offense. You have made that title not even matter in AEW. Seriously, you haven't. You have literally made that title into a joke. That's why Hook is retiring it. That's why you see Hook kind of now cutting promos. That's another thing. We haven't seen Hook cut a promo. Ever. Now this man wants to go after the World Heavyweight belt of Samoa Joe. When he is too green. Tony Khan needs to have a farm system to where he builds up these wrestlers and gets them the proper coaching and the proper promo work. I just find it interesting how Tony Khan sits back and says, Hook is prime time. Hook is prime time. What is he prime time on? Again, you did this with Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill's green as shit. That's why she hasn't debuted for WWE, because she's too green right now. WWE don't want to put her out there and have her fail. Look at Alexis King. Brian Pillman Jr. Great shit. But didn't even get the tools in AEW to do what he needed to do. That's not me saying WWE won't drop the ball here with him either. Or Jade. But it's been proven WWE builds stars with the Performance Center, with the things. But for Tony Khan to sit and say out-of-bounds comments is ridiculous to me. That's why AEW gets the stigma of Wild Wild West. Shoot from the hip. That's what they do. Eye for an eye. Tony Khan should have been on Twitter today, or X, sorry, laughing it off, laughing emo, going, ha, these guys, ha. I know what I know. And just playing it off, or not saying anything at all. That's why you have a group of people that take his phone away. He should not be on X. He wants better TV rights deals. He wants better shit in play, but he acts unprofessional on Twitter, or X, sorry. It blows my mind. I like Tony Khan, but fans need to understand, this is what he does. This is what he does. Why are people surprised? Why are people all dumbfounded and shocked? Oh my God, Tony Khan talked all this shit, and Eric Bischoff got on. Eric Bischoff's in the right. Eric Bischoff's another clown too. Come on. Really? Eric Bischoff's a clown too. It's to me, I don't know why his dad, that's partial owner of AEW, is not turning around and saying, hey, son, maybe you should not be going on X and saying these kind of things because you're trying to get, sponsors and things like that to come alongside of you. Another thing that I find funny is, why is Danielson not texting him? He's the social media brand ambassador. Why is he not messaging Tony, texting, going, hey, I saw your tweets, man. I know you're the owner and everything, and we're friends. You shouldn't be saying what you're saying. It's a bad take. Maybe you should delete those tweets. Maybe you should have that's why AEW gets the stigma they do. Now, before some of you sit back and tell me, oh, hey, this is why AEW is dying and company's going to go out of business. They're not going out of business. Far from it. Some people like this fire off the hip ownership. You wanted the opposite of Vince McMahon. Here you are. You got a owner, Tony Khan. It's more of a wrestling fan. He reacts to little things like this. It's like me reacting in my comment section sometimes. You know what I mean? I like to have the conversation, but sometimes we get heated, and sometimes it's just for, it is what it is. Like last night in my review, I said, look at all these trash YouTubers speaking on things that they don't even know what they're speaking on, spreading the word of misinformation, and you guys all believe it, right? Well, it doesn't make it any better when Tony Khan and other people go and do the shit they do on X. And I think Tony Khan should keep his mouth shut. I think Tony Khan should have somebody take his phone away from him. I don't know why somebody in PR is not going up to him going, hey, man, this is a PR nightmare, man. You shouldn't be doing this stuff. Beyond me. Beyond me at the end of the day. I like Tony Khan. I don't see him any different with these tweets, but I'm kind of just facepalming going, this is not it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief. And to compare Hook to Jinder Mahal is just blasphemy here. As Stephen A. Smith says sometimes, blasphemy. Are you on the weed? Weed. What is Tony Khan on? You know what I mean? Sometimes I question things. What goes through your mind, my guy? Is it too much coffee? Maybe you're just high on life. I don't know what he's on. But sometimes when he writes things on Twitter or X, I'm like, what in the actual high holy hell are you on about, dude? Like, what got up your asshole, and why are you so worked up over it? Like, this should have been a laughing or a clown emote or something of the range, or not said a word and just said, hey, look, coming to Dynamite this week, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have been any more than that. And to me, he should have people vet his tweets before he even says anything. You know what I mean? I think, all these wrestlers and everybody say Twitter's toxic, but it starts from or X is toxic. You hear these wrestlers talk about this, but it starts with people like yourself. Look at Chris Jericho going recently on Twitter, having these spats. Who's controlling that? AEW. Look at Tony Khan, who's not, you guys talk about how you guys are having these internal things. It starts with the up top down to the bottom. And to sit and talk about wrestlers that haven't even really gotten a start in AEW. Like Taz at once upon a time was talking, his son was going to go away from AEW to go to WWE. Because he's not getting the beginning, middle, and end of the coaching and the training. So at the end of the day, Tony Khan's got to step up his game in 2024. This is just, to me, Tony Khan needs to stop acting like a 4-year-old and actually put up or shut up and actually make good product. He's actually doing it, but he goes 10 steps and walks 10 steps back. I think that's what a lot of people need to understand with this. Yes, I get he's young. He's not that young. He's literally like 30s into his 40s. He needs to do better. He's college educated and is very business savvy. Focus on business, making your company better. Put a better team in place and start booking you possibly have Mercedes Moné walking in. You need to grow up at this point. If you're saying AEW is taking a stride, then you need to do better. If you're calling this the new era of AEW, then you need to lead by example here. To me, it just boggles my fucking mind that Tony Khan says, we're turning the page, we're doing right things, but then you go on Twitter and do this shit. And you wonder why those WWE tribalists shit on you all the time and shit on AEW. You wonder why now. Because you just give them ammunition online. And then you give those trolls ammunition. And then it just makes everything that's been said on Reddit, Facebook, any of these places is justified. Again, I just, to me, it boggles my mind how Tony Khan needs to lead by example. And to me, if you're putting Danielson as your second in command, they just hired a new COO. Why is that COO not going over co-owner, not going over, or co-chair, going over, hey man, I saw your Twitter post or X post. Why are you tweeting that stuff? Especially, we're looking for a new network contract. I think you need to delete those posts, apologize, move fucking on. He could be working with Eric Bischoff, but instead he's like burning that bridge day by day, night by night. You know, he needs people. He wants to be the number one promotion, but WWE's had 50, 60 years at this, or 100 years. They're like the NFL. Tony Khan should stay in his lane, build up his talent, focus on not being the wild, wild west of streaming. Of wrestling. I'm going to drink my coffee real quick. And I think Tony Khan, you know, really, really, really needs to buckle down and just be more professional. Or it's going to come back to bite him in the ass when he goes to sign wrestling talent. Because a lot of wrestling talent do not want the owners to go out there and cause a muck in front of like sponsors and shit. At the end of the day, this is purely my opinion. I've spoke 11 minutes on this matter, and here I'll just show you guys. Here's in depth, I guess. You know, people are really going hard. And again, people are bringing up examples. Nick Wayne, what have you done with him? Luchasaurus, what have you done with him? You know, Tony Khan really needs to shut his mouth because people watch the show. Luchasaurus, you give him a title, then take it away, bury him, call him Kill Switch now. You see Luchasaurus, Kill Switch. Then you talk about Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne, he's green. What has he done for you? He's not progressed. Yes, it's early on, but what are you doing? You're not putting a title around him. You sold him to all of us that he was this be-all, end-all, upcoming prime, but have done nothing. You haven't put him in Ring of Honor, have him go through the ladder, win some titles, maybe a pure championship, maybe a television champion. You have done nothing for him to build him up, to make me go, wow, Hook should be over at Ring of Honor right now. If you're using Ring of Honor as a step-up system to AEW, then here's the thing. You need to have Hook go over there, win a tag team belts, possibly win the pure championship, have him go over and win the TV title, then have him win the world title, build him up for a few years and do it right by him, give him the tools that he deserves. Then let's start having that conversation maybe 2 years down the road that maybe he's a little bit better than Jinder Mahal. But right now, Jinder Mahal, yeah, he's a jobber. Yeah, he got put. He let The Rock squash him in a matter of seconds, but he got his send off the other night too, with Seth Rollins and possibly getting a championship match, which that's happening. Yes, is he gonna win that world title? Probably not. But he's getting the payoff for what he does. Jinder Mahal's, they're saying in the next round of releases in WWE, he's going bye-bye. Why would he sign to AEW now if his contract, if they release him, right? That's the rumor. That's what some of these wrestling channels are going on. Him and a few others, goodbye. Why would he sign? Why would the fuck he sign with AEW when your owner's publicly calling you garbage? Like, Tony Khan doesn't realize this, but like, wrestlers read your tweets or your X's and they will fire off. That's why some of the wrestlers have said they wish Tony Khan wouldn't open his phone and say what he says sometimes. You'll hear that from Tony, from Ricky Starks, and you'll hear that from a few wrestlers sometimes on Twitter or in interviews. Like, I just wish, MJF has said it too. Like, Tony Khan's going to do Tony Khan thing, but I wish sometimes Tony Khan would just roll with the punches sometimes. I'm not hating on Tony Khan. Tony Khan is brilliant at numbers. He's brilliant, but he's got to start learning to roll with the punches. It just seems like he's soft, and he needs to do better by his talent. You have so much good talent in AEW. Hook could be a future star. He could be an MJF character. Like an MJF kind of up on the top when MJF decides to go, oh, hey, I'm going to go over to WWE now and do the WWE thing if he hasn't re-signed with AEW. Darby Allin's another one, but you have Darby Allin acting like this hardcore guy when he's not a hardcore guy. When he was in Evolve, he was winning championships and doing things that nobody else would be doing. He almost signed with WWE. Nick Wayne, another one that I don't understand what we're doing. Nick Wayne, you've presented as this be-all, end-all, like he is your next Mike Trout, technically, gonna blow buildings off and blow roofs off of things, but you have done nothing for that man. Same with Hook. If Hook's your future, why are you not building him up in your secondary company, or they call it the Challenger brand, AEW and Ring of Honor? Why are you not putting him on Ring of Honor and have him go up the ladder? It just makes sense. Hook is an amazing talent, but he doesn't have promo skills. These vignettes they're doing, honestly, like, he talks like we're from the hood. My guy, you're talking like a rapper. Like you're going to come out and do some thubonomic shit. No, come out, beat the shit out of people, cut promo. That's what you're good at. Come out, beat the shit out of people. Give me new ring attire for him. Hook needs new ring attire, personally. I don't need him looking like his dad. I want him to look like his own entity. And I would like to see Hook shave his head, maybe. Maybe down to like a number 3, maybe a flat cut. Come out, beat the shit out of people. Look legitimately like a guy you don't want to fuck with. Get him bigger. Make him bigger. If you're talking, Tony Khan talks a big game about Hook. Build the fucker up. Build this man. Because if you don't, like Taz said earlier in tweets, go back a couple months ago, his son could walk out of the company and go to WWE. That's a Tony Khan failure. Tony Khan's praising the fucker here. If he walks into WWE and has a better, I'm laughing at Tony Khan. That's a failure on you. Build your talent. Stop going on these little rants personally and build your fucking talent. Build them from the ground up. This is where I give WWE credit over AEW. WWE builds stars. But AEW just thinks that, because they did something in the indie scene and they did this over here, they're going to be this, that, and the third. It doesn't work that way, Khan. It never did. Again, that's why you're going to see Jay Cargill do a better run over in WWE than you're going to see in AEW, and Tony Khan's going to look like he has egg all over his face. He has done, and I'm sorry that I'm on this tangent right now, but I'm just saying, like, these tweets, just a fan. I like AEW more than I do WWE. Personally, I do, because it appeals more to me. But I also like WWE too. But it doesn't look good when your owner is you're trying to put butts in the seats and you don't know why. This stuff will get people to go, maybe I don't go watch your product now. Your owner's fat shit crazy. Why should I go watch the product? Why should I have my kids watch the product when the owner of the product's going on and bashing this wrestler and losing his effing mind over here? Again, that's a PR fucking nightmare. Tony Khan needs to keep his mouth shut and just be professional. That's it. Nothing more. End of story here. I think a lot of people agree with me with my statements. What has Hook done for me lately except hold a title that's a paperweight title? He's not holding an international belt, All-Atlantic. He needs to be built up in Ring of Honor. This is where Ring of Honor comes in. Why the fuck did you buy Ring of Honor if you're not going to build your stars up what you need to build your stars up to? Hook should be over in Ring of Honor building his tools and learning how to build his character. Somebody that I'll give you a few that are building their characters right now. Billy Starks. He's doing a good job with Billy Starks and fucking Athena, and doing a great job with a lot of the stars over at Ring of Honor. He needs to put Hook in that nucleus and build him. Because if that man doesn't get a build, I tell you in the next year or two, if Hook does not get anywhere, he's WWE bound. That's a fact. And Tony Khan's going to have to wear egg on his face and look back at these tweets 2 years later and go, well, shit, I should have done things better. Tony Khan needs to step up as an owner and start being more professional, or it's going to be his downfall. If people they're having tough time selling seats, this is why. Who wants to see a maniac on fucking X? Nobody does. I think a lot of, and by the way, before somebody comes into my comment section and tells me, you're just blowing this out of, it's not the first time he's done this. This has been many times. I don't know, somebody should take his phone away from him. They should have insider meetings when they do this before he goes, but he's acting stupid over pub shots by USA Network. Anyway, my name is RevSauce9. This is my thoughts on the matter. I'll have his statuses up I'll have his Twitter down below. You guys can go read it for yourself. I just think it's very ignorant that Tony Khan is sitting back. No offense. Losing his effing mind over nothing. And Eric Bischoff's just a clown personally. Who gives a shit about him? Honestly, I don't really care. I know I got a lot of people in my community that watch his podcast with Conrad, and I just don't care for him. Eric Bischoff thinks he's God's gift to wrestling. He still thinks that way. So does Hogan. I appreciate what they did in the 90s, but they almost took TNA down to the ground. They like, he doesn't want to remember that, but he was the reason why TNA was trash for a very long time with Russo. They brought Russo in, and the fucking product went downhill. Nobody talks about that. Everything else Eric Bischoff has touched since WCW has been garbage. His WWE run a couple of times was great, but after that, anything else he touched is trash. Just pointing that out. My personal opinion. But anyway, my name is RevSauce9. Let me know what you think about Tony Khan's comments on X. X gonna give it to you. Tony Khan needs to settle down and just sometimes let things be for what it is and just calm his ass. I don't know what shit he's on, but he should calm down. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.